Well, um, here's another video, and we're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather and versus the two top names that everybody's mentioning. First they said Mayweather can school these guys, and then now they're saying what, these guys can knock him out. And we're talking about Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, right? Keith Thurman is one of the biggest welterweights, good young strong knockout artist, and Sean Porter is the IBF welterweight champion, defeating Devon Alexander in a very convincing fashion, and then he knocked out the Magic Man Paulie Malignaggi in a very great performance, right? So people are saying now, Keith Thurman and Sean Porter are the greatest threats to Mayweather, aside from Manny Pacquiao. And why are people saying this? Well, casual fans and, boxing fans around the world always tend to judge a fighter's next fight by the previous opponent, by the previous performance, right? Mayweather had like a drawish fight with Maidana, and then Sean Porter just, he knocked the shit out of Paulie Malignaggi. Well, who looked greater? Well, of course, Sean Porter. But this is the thing: the difference in experience, and the difference in opposition, right? Sean Porter and Keith Thurman, right? These guys go into a fight thinking knockout, right? I have the advantage over the next guy, the guy that I'm gonna fight. I have the advantage. I have more accuracy. I have more punching power, right? Um, and that's how these guys the mentality. That's how they go in because of the opposition that they're facing, right? Let's say Sean Porter faces Timothy Bradley, right? That's a different type of opposition, Now he can't just say, you know what, I'm gonna knock this guy out. First of all, this guy has never been knocked out, and this is a technical guy. If I swing and I don't hit him, he's gonna hit me back. So, you haven't thought about that with your previous opponents. Same thing with Keith Thurman. He's not thinking defensively. He's not thinking about, let me be careful with this guy because this guy can knock me out. Sean Porter and Keith Thurman are not thinking like that. Why? Because of the opposition. If they had been facing technical fighters or fighters with stronger chins or fighters that have power, the game plan changes, right? So the mentality molds, into one specific way. And it's like Manny Pacquiao, right? If Manny Pacquiao would, he faced Brandon Rios. Let's say Manny Pacquiao would face um what's this guy's name? Alvarado. Let's say he would face Alvarado, right? He would face Brandon Rios, Alvarado, let's say Danny Garcia. These guys are, they stand in front of you, and it's easy target practice for Pacquiao, right? It's easy so his mentality, he's Manny Pacquiao's not thinking about, I gotta dodge these punches, the footwork. He's not thinking any of that. He's just thinking, what, this guy is in front of me, and all I gotta do is hit him. You know, he's not thinking defensively. But of course, Pacquiao has faced Marquez and has faced Timothy Bradley, both technical fighters, and not only technical fighters, technical fighters with high credentials. So, that are in an elite level. So Manny Pacquiao has experience in thinking defensively and in thinking and counterpunching. And that is where you really have to break it down when you say Floyd Mayweather versus Keith Thurman, and you say, you know what, Keith Thurman's gonna knock the shit out of him. You gotta, you gotta really know what you're talking about. Keith Thurman, and how many defensive fighters has he faced, and the fighters that he's faced. What is the determination of those fighters? Do they really want to beat Keith Thurman, or are they going, just to get a paycheck? What type of caliber opposition has he faced? Somebody, like Ruslan, or Tim Bradley, that really want to win. They don't give up. They really gonna give him a hard fight. 12 rounds, or or is it some fighter that's scared of his punching power? And someone like Keith Thurman and Sean Porter rely on that. Now I'm not gonna take anything away from them. Of course, these two are very young, aggressive fighters. But I'm just saying, the experience that they have. Another example would be Gennady Golovkin, right? Gennady Golovkin, is the mentality is just, I have more power than this guy. This guy's gonna run away from me, and I just gotta go seek and destroy. That's the game plan. That's the mentality, because he has that power advantage. But what if, what if there's a guy that's not gonna be scared of your power, that has a good jaw, that has more power than you? How are you gonna go thinking, into that fight? Floyd Mayweather, he's thinking defensively on all his fights, because he doesn't have the physical advantage. He doesn't have that. He can't stay in the pocket and trade shots with you. Because he's thinking defensively, because he's had faced physically superior opponents. So that's the question that you have to ask when you're talking about something like Keith Thurman or Sean Porter against Floyd Mayweather. Yes, Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, they do knock out their opposition. But what opposition are they knocking out? The mentality that they go into in a fight. Keith Thurman relies a lot on his power. Does he have a game plan? To where, what, I'm gonna tag Floyd, jab him to the body, and then he's gonna do the shoulder roll, and then I'm gonna step to the left, and then give him a left hook. He doesn't have that, that mentality. Why? Because all his fights, his mentality is just, I gotta land to knock him out. That's his mentality. He's never had a mentality towards where you can say, you know what, I need a specific game plan to beat this guy. I need a duck his left hand, come over with the right. No, he doesn't have that sort of mentality. All his opponents, he had an advantage of power, and he had an advantage of size. So he's not gonna be thinking that. Of course, if you say Keith Thurman versus Gennady Golovkin, then Keith Thurman is gonna be like, holy shit, wait, let me come up with a game plan here. This guy can knock me out, Now it's time to really think about what I'm gonna do. I can't make mistakes, This guy can knock me out. I gotta think defensively. I gotta train for a real game plan on how to beat this guy. I'm really gonna start thinking smart. And that is the experience that somebody like Keith Thurman or Sean Porter lacks when when you're facing a fighter like Floyd Mayweather, And Marcos Maidana, he relies on his power, but on his performance against Broner, he actually, I mean, I was impressed. He actually had a game plan. He threw shots, jab to the body, hook to the body, and then he came up with that overhand right to the top that Broner didn't even see. That was very impressive. He actually knocked him down 2 times with that punch. That is a game plan that Marcos. He has that He had that mentality. It wasn't just punching power. So these are my thoughts about what people think about Adrian, and not Adrian Broner, Keith Thurman, and Sean Porter. Me personally, I don't think they can actually beat Floyd Mayweather this year. They need more weapons under their arsenal. They need to have a game plan. They really need to face an opposition where they outbox the other. I know Keith Thurman hasn't had his chance, because some people consider that they're ducking him as far, so far during these years. And also Sean Porter has been, he's proven that Sean Porter has proven that he has the punching power to hurt somebody at welterweight. But also, you got to consider that Sean Porter is not a, he's not a, he's more of a middleweight or a light middleweight, because he actually goes down, and then he's not a natural welterweight. And then of course, Keith Thurman has moved up to 154 with ease in the past fights. So I mean, it just really depends on what you think of these two young talents. Porter versus Thurman would be a great pay-per-view event later on in the years. But like I said, you can't just judge. You can't just judge somebody by their last performances. You have to really dig down, see the opponents, and see their mentality going into the fight. Thank you for watching.